The can crusher cap has been put on test tank 17 at Massey's. A new CFA rig for the Gigabay foundation piles delivered at Sanchez, while its footprint is outlined for sheet pile work at the build site, and the pump farm nears completion at the launch site. Hey everybody and welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's Starbase Flyover update number 86. This week's flight took place on Sunday, May 8th, at an altitude of 10,500 feet and captured some fantastic images of all the recent developments here at Starbase, Texas. My name is Jeff A and I'll be your guide today, so let's kick back and try to spot any changes over the last week. We'll start over at the Massey's test facility. Here's a labelled map from Proky to find your way around the site. Beginning at the structural test stand, we can see that the structural test cap has been installed onto test tank 17. This is used to impart various forces on the article being tested. Also, on closer inspection, we can see the two angled actuators are now connected to the internal push rods that connect to the internal landing tank structure. Moving to the new booster cryo stand, 17 of the 20 outer arms have been installed, as well as all the inner thrust rams for the inner 13 engines. Zoom out here and we can get a look at the fire brake for static fires over on the Mexican side of the border. Before we move to Sanchez, let's quickly check up on the Rio West development. Starting at the community building, the framework continues on the structure. Moving to the apartment buildings in the middle of the site, we can see timber framing is progressing nicely, as well as concrete work for the additional apartments. At the row of houses at the bottom of the site, timber framing appears to be nearing completion, with just one remaining to be started. And at the top of the site, we can see that most of the second level floor slabs have been poured, with one remaining to complete the row. The first house in this row has most of its second level framing constructed. Starting with the booster transport stand for the next generation of boosters, there has been little progress, as it is still awaiting the installation of clamp arms. To the side of it, a new work stand for Star Factory looks to be almost complete. It's likely to be for common dome assembly for either boosters or ships. It may also be used to weld the dome to the barrel section. At the BQD assembly area, another hold-down arm has been delivered, now having two to spare. These could be for replacing the current ones installed or for the new OLM to be built for Pad 1. We'll keep an eye out on them. Moving to the ship QD arm area, some hardware is being installed and none of the piping stage nearby has been installed yet. Hopefully we'll see this in the not too distant future. A CFA drilling rig has been assembled for Gigabay foundation construction. At Remedios Avenue, concrete has almost completely been poured at the parking garage section, with machinery awaiting to start working on the other section. Just before moving to the build site, we'd like to thank all of our YouTube and Patreon members. Remember, all of the patrons get to participate in our show and tell sessions on the same day of each flight. Here you can join in the discussions and ask your own questions. YouTube members also get to watch and listen in with a live chat function. Now moving on to the build site, some major groundwork has started for the brand new Gigabay. Taking a look at the construction site, we can see sheet piling for the foundations installed around the perimeter of the future structure and many more staged around the site. If we look at the piles on the factory side, it appears that there will indeed be a laneway left between the factory and the new bay to allow movement of vehicle sections. This laneway will probably be covered over, but it won't be part of the new bay's structure. There is some speculation that this covered laneway may extend around the corner and follow the Joanne Street side of the Gigabay to further avoid foreign object contamination. We can expect the CFA piling installation to follow and continue for the next few weeks, so make sure to stay tuned for future updates. We'll make a quick stop at Megabay 2, where we were able to catch a rare instance of the open door. In this angle, Ship 37 can be seen, pending aft flap installation. Moving to a different angle, Ship 36 sits on the workstation behind it, and Ship 38 is in the centre. Over in front of the turntable, a plastic-covered steel frame has appeared. Let us know in the comments what you think it might be. We can also see additional installation platforms meant to surround ship work platforms staged here outside. Other equipment such as the two 4-point lifters and miscellaneous parts are staged here as well. Looking closer, we can see the old-style version 2 booster clamps on these workstation slides. And looking inside Megabay 1, where its door was also open, we can see two booster workstations. On this particular one, we can see Block 3 booster clamps. Also in this image, a new work platform has been installed around the turntable and integrates with the existing workstation's platforms. If we move over just a little more, we can see a new installation elevator for the chines. This indicates yet another iteration in the production flow of the boosters. Booster 16 is on the centre workstand, with Booster 15 in the right-hand rear corner. Now switching angles once again, we have a great view of the first version 3 booster's LOX tank on the turntable. Looking outside, we can see a white structure under construction. In our Patreon exclusive Flyover discussion, we speculated that it could be for booster header tank installation. As far as booster movements, Booster 16 returned from the launch site on June 8th after its successful static fire, as seen in this lab padre footage. Over by Tent 4, all but one aft flap has been moved away, probably for tiling work. Behind the Star Factory, a new building or extension has been constructed with concrete already poured. Steel beams were currently being raised at the time of flight. Do you think this could be used as a tile factory instead of Tent 4? At our last stop for this site, let's take a look at the 3-storey apartment building. We can see pipes for plumbing being installed here, and a possible elevator shaft is seen here. Before moving to the launch site, a quick reminder to give this video a like if you've learned something new so far. Also, we're targeting 70,000 subscribers by the end of summer, so please subscribe if you haven't already to see more exclusive content from RGV Aerial Photography. Let's have a look at this map of the site from Proky to get you familiar with all the areas here at the launch site. At the launch mount, the crane has been disconnected from the booster quick disconnect structure. The 2 brackets seen last week are now welded in place for the methane quick disconnect system, mirroring the ones on the lock side. In the GSE bunker, this hydraulic reservoir has received some plumbing. This will supply the hydraulic system on the next level below. Down at the floor level of the flame trench, we can see some of the steel plates are now being installed. These will continue all the way up both exhaust ramps. Over the other side, another elbow for the pancake water delivery manifold is now in place. Preparations are underway for the last section of manifold on the tower side of the launch mount. The crew are removing paint from where the support brackets will be welded. Underneath this, new access holes have been cut into the exterior surface of the steel speed core wall sections for the welders to access the area where they are welding the legs. The roof of the tower veranda is receiving a coat of white paint. Around the west side of the tower, some additional high pressure lines are staged and some concrete cut in under the annex. Nearby, one of the expansion loops is almost fully enclosed with the steel covers. Some of the tower cladding pieces are being attached to the launch mount side. The launch mount deck water supply pipes have been exposed and the trench dug right to the steel walls, suggesting that they will elbow straight up to run externally and connect directly to the manifold pipe above. Down closer to the water deluge area, 2 vertical tanks out of labels on them saying FireX water tanks have been installed. Looking closer, a line of exposed rebar can be seen, confirming that a blast wall will run along this line. The extra piles toward the tower are there to further support this wall structure. Some of the exposed piles further over line up with the tower cryopipe culvert, which will continue to the rectangular hole in the fluids bunker. Switching views to the water deluge farm, all of the pipe runs from the launch mount have been finished off. The 2 main pipes with the weirs will feed the lower flame bucket and ridge cap. The remaining pipes will feed the launch mount deck and other systems. There appears to be room for a butterfly type valve to be fitted to 2 of them. On the high pressure nitrogen side, both of the recent excavations have been concreted over and more of the skids have been put into position. There is now a bank of 4 skids for the large tanks and a bank of 2 and 3 for the 5 smaller tanks, with the latter 2 sets using the recent buried pipes to connect to the manifold on top of the water tanks. Rebar has been laid in the area near the gate in preparation for concrete. At the pump farm, most of the main methane plumbing is nearing completion. One of the 2 main supply lines to the 2 pump manifolds has been put in place with an additional level of rack stacked for the second supply line. This will split just after the elbow in the pipe from the tanks, with the Y-piece stage nearby. This method of splitting the supply side pump manifolds was observed earlier on the lock side. Within the same rack, the pipe from the booster's pump manifold to the large heat exchanger is connected, as is the pipe that then continues from there and onto the launch pad. The pipe from the ship pump manifold has now also been run and yet to be connected to the skid for the bank of 4 smaller heat exchangers. On the lock side, only one more pump has been installed in position 8, and then its motor was installed on June 10th. Along Highway 4, some more electrical conduit is being laid. Moving over to Pad 1, Booster 16 was lifted onto the OLM on the 5th of June with its first prop load occurring on the 6th. The booster was then detanked with no static fire attempt. The next day, on the 7th, prop loading once again resumed, and this time a successful static fire was conducted. SpaceX later shared a video of this on X. Later that same day, the booster was lifted to the top of the tower, then lowered onto the transport stand and later rolled back, reaching the build site in the early hours of the 8th. Since then, the dance floor and a small amount of scaffolding has returned. That's it for episode 86 of Starbase Flyover Update. Thank you for choosing to fly with RGV aerial photography, and we hope you all enjoyed the flight. If you liked what you saw today, please subscribe for more episodes and content so you don't miss out on the new videos each week. I'm Jeff A, and we hope to see you again from 10,500 feet.